because knowledge is the synthesis of information into coherent thoughts. And it takes time and concentration. And I think one of the other areas that educators need to look at all levels is whether these bits of information are being properly synthesized and that knowledge and learning today is still going on in a way. These are big macro level education questions, but I think that they all come into clearer focus with this new digital reality, and they require investment of serious educational resources by the top minds and researchers and educators in our country.
I was struck by the fact that you mentioned maybe only once in your talk the word grandparent. And I am one. And I have kids who live on the West Coast and who have grandchildren.
Yep.
I have not been educated in all of the things you talked about as changes that have occurred in the media. My question to you is, what is your advice to grandparents? In some ways, we are getting to be a kind of lost generation. We don't know how to communicate in all those different styles.
I think that's a great question. And I mean that in all seriousness, and I'm glad you asked it, because I think that grandparents are actually a big part of the mix on many different levels. One of the first things we did when we founded Common Sense Media 5.5 years ago was talk to the people who run AARP, because I believe that there's a natural partnership between people who care about children and grandparents and seniors. I really do, on a multiple levels. And if you know about, and I don't mind if I can digress for just one second on your question, the model that in building Common Sense Media, but behind the organization that we've built, is actually to build somewhat of an AARP for children, because we believe there needs to be a mass constituency. I did not go into that in my remarks, but we believe, and I personally believe, there needs to be a mass constituency base for the best interests of kids in education that has not heretofore existed, and that's comparable to how AARP represents the interest of seniors when it comes to health care and other major governmental initiatives. You can't pass major legislation that affects the broader populace in the United States without checking with AARP and all the seniors that they represent. Well, if Common Sense continues to grow at the pace that we've grown, I hope we will perform that function on behalf of children in education in the United States. And like AARP, we give out information for free to our constituency base so that they will join and be part of our broader ideas. So that's a brief digression. But I think that this is a critical, I think grandparents can be wonderful partners in all of this on several different levels. First of all, if your grandkids come over to your house, they're going to probably want to watch videos or TVs or movies or something, number one. And so there needs to be resources for you so you can make good decisions about what you think is appropriate. That's one of the reasons that we created Common Sense. It's sort of a consumer report guide or part of what we do. So I think that in a very basic level, you need to be thinking about when your grandkids come over to your house, what do you want to expose them to? I think the second thing is with a very little amount of exploration on your part, you can learn more about things like cell phones and Facebook. Now, Facebook is now the largest social networking site in the United States, and they've clearly changed their marketing and target audience from young people to people in the 30 to 50-year-old demographic. Facebook has. And that's their new big initiative. And if people in that demographic are listening or here, they know that Facebook is now starting to target them. I think they're going to start to target seniors as well, because you can go check out your old high school friends. It's a way to actually stay in touch. So I do believe that grandparents, if they familiarize themselves, go on Facebook, go on MySpace, try out Twitter if you follow your favorite celebrity on Twitter. Go on YouTube, and not just to watch the City Club channel on YouTube, but you should. But go on there and see what an incredible treasure trove of video it is. But I think that grandparents are a big part of the mix. On one final piece, which is the political piece. I ended by talking about ultimately this is really all about kids, and all kids, including the large number of kids in this society who deserve greater investment and attention from all of us. We're getting to a point economically where if we're going to invest in our kids in the way that we should, whether it's their education, their health, or their broader development, that seniors are going to have to go along with that and be part of the broader grand plan, if you will. And I think that includes investing in educational technology and media as well. So I think seniors, and many do as grandparents individually, need to think about it on a societal level as well, in terms of how do they make sure that that their generation and my generation, for example, invest in the kind of educational resources to make young people's lives the kind that they should be. So I think there's a great partnership ultimately between grandparents and these issues, and part of why we started Common Sense was to make that a little easier for you to know what the information's, what you need to know. It's not that complicated. That's the other thing I'd say is it seems overwhelming to parents, it seems overwhelming to senior citizens, but a lot of it's just plain common sense. And a lot of the good rules of parenting and grandparenting, they just apply to the media context as well. You just need to familiarize yourself with some of the new terms and platforms. And there are resources out there to help you do that. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Food for thought. Good. Good to see you.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland Forum, we have been listening to James Steyer, founder of Common Sense Media. Thank you, James. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This forum is now adjourned.